Hi everyone, Craig here, and welcome to episode 7 of season 3 of the Tiny Tropical Garden. And in this week's video, I find the perfect planting place for this exotic Chinese lantern plant. I take delivery of some very special begonias. And if you entered the competition for last week's seed giveaway, keep watching because the winner is going to be announced in this video. I'll kick off this week's vlog by looking into this exciting delivery. We all love getting new plants, so let's have a closer look. We'll start by looking through some of the Begonia plug plants I've ordered. This begonia is called Black Knight with its dark purple leaves and starry speckles. This amazing little begonia leaf is that of Roche Heart or Rock Heart. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. But again, it's a speckly leaf begonia and this one should get quite large leaves, so I'm looking forward to growing this one on. And the last begonia that's part of this order is the old classic Begonia Metallica. Supposedly easy to grow and I like it for its glossy leaves. All of these begonias I'm going to grow as houseplants and try and propagate them from leaf cuttings so that I can use them as exotic summer bedding outside. I'm becoming obsessed with the variety of leaf colours, shapes and forms you can get with begonias. And this little guy is a variegated Congo cockatoo impatiens plant. I've not seen the variegated form before, so I'm really looking forward to growing this one on and seeing if I can take some cuttings from him too. And if you've been following the vlog, you know that I'm getting into Streptocarpus for great reliable flowering houseplants and plants that you can propagate to use outdoors in summer as summer bedding plants. And some of you have commented saying that you've seen them in gardens in temperate climates where they've survived outdoors in mild winters, so these are definitely worth giving a go. This last one is supposed to flower for 12 months of the year. I just need to pot them up now into these small pots using multi-purpose compost. Every single one of these plugs comes in this biodegradable cornstarch case, and the roots can grow out through them. The idea is you can plant them without having to disturb the roots. But I lost some of the last plug plants I bought, and people commented online saying they always remove this casing. So I'm going to give it a go and just see if the chance of survival is better for me. Remember, this is different for everybody. With a few careful cuts, the cases come quite easily off. And yeah, you break away a few roots, but hopefully I'll have better luck potting these plants on and growing them to be bigger plants this time. It's always worth experimenting and just finding what works best for you. I've used your bulk standard everyday multi-purpose compost to pot these plants up. And because they're small plugs, I haven't overpotted them into large pots, especially the begonias, because they hate sitting in a lot of damp soil and they're very susceptible to rot. So the begonias will stay in these pots for quite a long time until the roots are showing out of the bottom, and then I'll pot them up. Again, the Streptocarpus are only small plug plants, so I don't want to overpot them. But apparently restricting the roots and not overpotting Streptocarpus also promotes more flowers. So I'm going to leave these in these pots too for a longer time. However, this Congo cockatoo impatiens will probably need potting up fairly soon. They grow quite quickly when they're happy, and I want to get this plant as big as possible because, like I said, I want to use it as a mother plant so that I can take plenty of cuttings from it. Now on to the next task. It's finally time for me to pot up my caladium tubers. And luckily, the packaging comes with some very useful planting guidance for first-time caladium growers like me. Some of them are a bit smaller than others, and this one looks as though it's only got one growth point. Whereas this is a really good sized tuber. And you can see there's 2 or 3 growth points at the top of the tubers, and these are what you want facing up when you plant your caladium tubers. I'm using the same general multi-purpose compost to plant my caladium tubers, with that growth point facing up, and I'm going to plant them between 5 and 10 centimeters deep in the soil, just as the packaging told me to. The next stage is boring, but very, very important. Labelling your plants. I've grown 5 different varieties here, and I will lose track if they're not labelled, so time to source some plant labels. And here's a quick tip from the Tiny Tropical Garden. If you like ice creams, they now come with free plant labels. What better reason can I give my wife for letting me buy more seeds? If I buy more seeds, we buy more ice cream. It's a win-win. All jokes aside, I prefer using the wooden lollipop sticks to small plastic labels, because I can just bury these lollipop sticks once I'm done, and they'll add to the compost in my garden. And if you've got a keen eye, you'll have noticed that the colour of the new plastic pots I'm using has changed. I'm only using new pots to avoid pests and disease for my new caladium tubers, but the colour of these pots means they are much more widely recyclable. Obviously, I'm going to reuse them until they perish and then send them for recycling, but this fits in with the goals of my garden, environmentally friendly. Now it's just time to water in the caladiums and find somewhere warm for them to stay so that they can start to grow. Those of you who subscribe and are a part of the Tiny Tropical tribe know that I rescued this structure, which is an old stick insect enclosure, to use as a makeshift greenhouse. And I've been using it to keep my canna and ginger rhizomes dry over winter. But I think it's just about warm enough now for these to move outside. Sometimes I have to make these decisions a little earlier than everyone else, just because I'm so short on space. But I've seen that they're starting to shoot, and I've actually got some gingers that I've kept outside all winter. And because down here in Dorset we've had a relatively mild winter, a lot of things are still green and are still growing. And this Canna Cleopatra is already putting up its striped leaves, and you can just see how dry the soil is. So that structure has done a great job at stopping these rhizomes from rotting away in the wet winter months. I'm now going to try and encourage these rhizomes to grow away a bit faster. So I'll do that by top dressing the pots with some fresh compost. This compost is just general multi-purpose compost, and it just adds a bit more food into the soil to help the rhizomes grow away. When they really start to grow, I'll either pot them up or plant them out into the garden, depending what the weather situation is like when they're ready. And now that I've taken out all of the ginger and canna rhizomes, it leaves this structure free for me to put my caladium tubers in. Caladiums are true tropical plants and need warmth to get them to shoot. So hopefully it'll be warm enough in here. But if there is any sign of frost, they are coming straight indoors. The only reason they aren't now is because we are very short on space. Right, next task. Time to sow some annual climbers. This is the popular Mina lobata, or Spanish flag. It's a fast-growing annual climber that flowers for many months throughout summer. I'm just sowing 6 seeds now, nice and early, so hopefully we can get some early colour in the Tiny Tropical Garden. I'm just sowing into multi-purpose compost in 9 cm pots. I did used to sow into specific seed compost, but I never used the whole bag, so now I'm just going to use multi-purpose and see how this works for me. I'll keep these on a windowsill indoors until they start to shoot. And do you remember me showing you this spotty dotty last week? Well, it's still growing and it's still putting up new leaves, which means the slugs are still very much interested in it. And our organic way of protecting against slugs is using coffee grounds. We've been using saved coffee grounds in the Tiny Tropical Garden for years. Not only are they high in nitrogen, which helps promote leafy growth, they act as a slug barrier too. I just apply the coffee as a thick mulch around the base of the plant, and its coarse texture stops slugs from wanting to move over the top of it, so it acts like a physical barrier. It's worked for hostas for me in the past, so we'll see if it does a good job protecting this spotty dotty. And finally, I've decided where I'm going to plant this beautiful Abutilon. I was desperately thinking about the ideal spot that would show off those exotic lantern style flowers. And then I saw the bare stems of my roost tree and saw an opportunity. My plan is to plant the Abutilon at the base of the roost tree, and then as it grows, keep tying it into these stems so that as you walk down the garden path, it will look as though the whole tree is festooned with these Chinese lanterns. I like growing in this style, using one plant to support another, because I think it looks more jungly and more natural. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but let's see how it works in the tiny tropical garden, and maybe it'll inspire some of you to have a go as well. At this stage, I'm just loosely tying in the Abutilon, or at least trying to. My string keeps going missing. And I think I know who is the main suspect. This cat isn't even ours, but she comes and plays in the garden every time I'm out gardening. Aha! There it is. I'll let her get away with it this time, just because she is so cute. So this is the final look. The Chinese lantern flowers of the Abutilon just dangle down from that roost stem. I'm hoping as it fills out it will look more and more natural and the string will fade so that you don't notice it quite so much. I'd be really interested to know what you guys think of this look. Comment below and let me know. Okay, that's me done in the tiny tropical garden this week. It's time for us all to see a garden sent in from the tiny tropical tribe. So many of you are sending me amazing pictures of your gardens, and if the rest of you want to be a feature of this tiny tropical tribe, just email me some photos of your garden to the email address in the description below. This week's garden from the tiny tropical tribe has been sent in by Ali and John in Portsmouth. And just look at what they started with. The same as the tiny tropical garden, Ali and John had to contend with heavy, waterlogged clay soil. In fact, Ali has told me that the clay soil has got so waterlogged that some of her plants actually drowned. So 1 year after this picture, by building raised beds and starting all over again, look at the transformation. Isn't that transformation incredible? From waterlogged, heavy clay in an oddly shaped tiny garden to this beautiful jungle paradise. This tropical garden is a true inspiration that all of you can transform your outdoor space, no matter what restrictions you have available. And just look at that garden structure. I have dreamt of having something like that. And it just sits so well amongst all of these really happy and healthy plants. It really does look fantastic. And I can just imagine sitting under that structure with a nice cold drink, watching the butterflies flitter from bloom to bloom in this garden. Thank you so much, Ali and John, for sharing your pictures with the rest of the tiny tropical tribe. It really is inspirational. And if you want to share your hard work with the rest of the tiny tropical tribe, as I've said before, just email me some pictures and tell me a bit about you and your garden. Okay, it's time to announce the winner of our Ensete superbum seed giveaway. Well done, Swedish Rainbow Garden. You've won the packet of seeds. All you need to do now is email me your delivery address and we'll get those seeds sent out to you. Thank you everybody for taking part in this competition. And thank you again to the Tropical Roof Garden for providing the seeds for this giveaway. And if you didn't check out their website last week, be sure to go and check it out this week. I've linked it in the description below. In next week's video, I'll be talking you through all of the exotic edibles that I'm planning to grow in the tiny tropical garden. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you want to be part of the tiny tropical tribe, then hit subscribe. See you all next week.